You know, we spend pretty much our whole lives chasing it, working for it, and definitely worrying about it. Money. But here's the crazy thing. What if the biggest challenge isn't actually earning it, but keeping it? It's a really strange puzzle when you think about it. How can someone make an absolute fortune and still end up with nothing? Well, today we're going to unlock the financial framework that they definitely never taught you in school. I mean, to really see this in action, let's look at a staggering real-world example. Let's talk about heavyweight champion Mike Tyson. At his peak, he was one of the highest-paid athletes on the entire planet. Get this, we're talking over $300 million. You'd think that kind of money would set you up for life, right? And your kids' lives and their kids' lives too. But the reality was a total knockout blow. In 2003, Mike Tyson filed for bankruptcy. And he wasn't just at zero. Nope, he was $30 million in debt. His story really forces us to face a hard truth. Earning the money is only half the battle. It's the other half that seems to destroy most fortunes. So what is going on here? Where is the disconnect? How can a person earn a life-changing generational amount of money and not only lose every penny, but end up millions in the hole? It's time we actually figured out that mystery. You see, Mike Tyson's story isn't just some cautionary tale about a celebrity living a crazy lifestyle. It actually reveals a fundamental blind spot that most of us, and I mean all of us, have about money, no matter what our income is. It proves that production, how much you earn, means almost nothing if you have a massive gaping hole on the consumption side of the equation. So let's just start with the absolute basics. What really is money? We tend to think of it as, dollar bills or numbers in a bank account. But here's a much more powerful way to think about it. Money is simply an expression of value. You trade your money for something because you believe that thing is worth that amount. That's it. Grasping this simple idea is really the first step to changing your entire relationship with your finances. And look, getting this right is absolutely crucial. We've all heard that phrase, money is the root of all evil. But it's not. It's a completely neutral tool. Think of it like a key. That's all it is. Having more of it just opens more doors and gives you more options. The choices you make with that key, well, that's a reflection of your character, not your cash. Okay, so great. Money is just a tool. But how does that actually help someone who's, living paycheck to paycheck? This is where we introduce a framework that turns this theory into a practical, real-world strategy. And it all starts by redefining what the rat race actually is. Believe it or not, your entire financial life, all of it, can be boiled down to this one simple, powerful scale. On one side, you've got production. That's the value you create that brings money in, usually from your job. And on the other side, you've got consumption. That's all the money flowing out for rent, food, Netflix, you name it. The balance between these two sides dictates your entire financial future, period. So looking at that scale, which side do you think is the real problem for most people? Production or consumption? Well, this slide tells the story, and honestly, it's pretty shocking. A Career Builders study found that a staggering 78% of American workers are living paycheck to paycheck. And get this, even for people earning over $100,000 a year, 1 in 10 are in the exact same boat. The problem isn't production, it's a crisis of consumption. And that right there, that is the real trap. So many people think the rat race is just having a job. But there's nothing wrong with a 9-to-5, especially if you enjoy it. No, the real rat race is living on that financial knife's edge, trapped in a consumption cycle where you are constantly one missed paycheck away from total disaster. There's a line from the movie Fight Club that just hits this nail on the head perfectly. When your lifestyle demands constant cash flow, your job is no longer a choice you make. It becomes a necessity, just to keep up, to pay off the debt, to maintain all the stuff you've bought. In a very, very real way, your possessions start to own your time and your freedom. So why? Why do we fall into this trap? If it's so obviously damaging, why can't we just stop? Well, the tough answer, and this is a big one, is that our own brains are often working against us. We are literally hardwired with certain cognitive biases that make us naturally terrible at managing money. Let's look at a few. Okay, you know that feeling, that pit in your stomach after a big weekend or a shopping spree, where you do not want to look at your bank account? That's the ostrich effect. We have this natural tendency to bury our heads in the sand and avoid financial information that we think might be bad news. Next up, we've got something called hyperbolic discounting. It sounds complicated, but it's super simple. It's the reason our brain screams yes to that new pair of shoes today, because it feels so much better than investing that exact same money for a way bigger payoff years from now. Instant gratification is just an incredibly powerful force. And finally, there's social proof, which you've probably heard of it as keeping up with the Joneses. We're social animals, we care what other people think, so we tend to act like the people around us. But here's the kicker. In today's world, with Instagram and TikTok, the Joneses aren't just your neighbors anymore. They are literally everyone you follow online, which creates this immense, nonstop pressure to consume. Okay, so our brains are fighting us, society's pressuring us. It sounds kind of hopeless, right? Well, it's not. The first part of the solution is a defensive strategy. Before you can even think about building wealth, you have to master your consumption. You have to stop the financial leaks. And the path to control has 3 crucial steps. Step 1 is all about awareness. You can't fix a leak if you don't know where it is, right? So track every single dollar for a month. I promise you will be shocked. Step 2 is control. This means creating a simple budget. And look, this is not about putting yourself in a financial prison. It's about being the boss of your money, telling it where to go instead of wondering where it went. And finally, build a safety net, an emergency fund with 3 to 6 months of living expenses. This is your wall against whatever life throws at you. All right, once your defense is rock solid, once you've truly mastered your consumption, then, and only then, is it time to go on offense. This is where you shift your focus to actively building wealth by scaling up your production. Let's stick with that sports analogy for a second. Being frugal, saving your money, that's your defense. It protects you from getting wiped out, and it builds a really stable foundation. But let's be real. You don't win a championship with defense alone, do you? Scaled production is your offense. It's how you go out and win the game. It's how you achieve real financial freedom. And this chart, it shows you exactly why this shift is such a game changer. That bar on the left, that's your standard job. It usually offers linear growth. You trade more of your time for a little more money. But that bar on the right, that's scaled production. And that, my friends, is where the magic happens. It offers the potential for exponential growth because you're no longer limited by the hours in a day. So how in the world do you actually do this? It sounds so abstract, right? Well, it all comes down to a shift in your thinking, from being just a participant in the market to being a creator for the market. It means finding a common problem, creating a valuable solution, and then delivering that solution at scale. Whether that's building a business, developing an app, or creating content that can reach millions, the principle is the same. You have to decouple your income from your time. Okay, let's bring it all home. Let's put this all together into one simple framework. And listen, the order here is everything. You can't skip a step. First, you play defense, master your consumption, plug all the leaks with tracking and budgeting, and then build that financial safety net. Only when that foundation is completely unshakable do you go on offense. You scale your production, you increase your value, and you create solutions for a mass market. Remember, defense first, then you go on offense. So when you strip everything else away, this whole framework really boils down to one simple but pretty profound question you got to ask yourself. In this world of social pressure and endless temptation, do you care more about appearing to have money, or do you care more about actually having it? Your answer to that question will define your entire financial future.